So, hi everyone, welcome back to our Philosophy of Happiness class. For this lecture, we'll focus on the hybrid theories. So, what are hybrid theories? So, hybrid theories try to bring together kind of different theories or different settings and form a unique new theory. So, a lot of them try to combine subjective theories and objective theories. While some of them also combine subjective and subjective theories or objective and objective theories. So, the first set of questions we might ask regarding hybrid theories are: do hybrid theories form a genuinely distinct class? So, are they actually new theories? Are they actually a new category of theories? Or are they just more developed versions of some theories, or are we just combining different theories together? But which don't qualify as a new, genuine, distinct class. Also, most hybrid theories always combine features of subjective and objective theories. So I guess I put these questions up here first because I wanted us to have these questions in mind throughout this process of exploring hybrid theories. So, why do we want hybrid theories from the first place? I think one motivation is that subjective theories have certain problems, right? Like, for desire fulfillment theories, sometimes you can desire the wrong things. Recall the different complexities we have that we can run into when we talk about desires. It would be nice if we could introduce some kinds of objective scales or objective ways to measure or ground our theories. And objective theories also have problems. For instance, what we've just covered, the objectivist theories, it has alienating problems, right? And it would be nice if we could have something subjective within our theory that tells us what goes on internally within us, our affective states and subjective feelings that matter to our well-being, that we have such things in our theoretical picture so that we don't alienate people and how they actually feel. So that's a major motivation for hybrid theories. It seems that if we could combine subjective and objective theories, maybe we could avoid problems of both sides and have something that's more comprehensive, that's more useful. And following such motivation, one model that emerged was the joint necessity model. This is a typical subjective-objective hybrid. So this model argues that for any subject S and anything X, X is a constituent of S well-being if and only if, and because A, S subjectively engages with X, and B, X is objectively good. So here are two conditions for well-being: objective value and subjective engagement of some kind with that value. So some examples for the joint necessity model. So the first would be well-being consists of enjoying the good. So enjoying would be the subjective part and the good would be the objective part, right? But it's some people, there would be a lot of objections to this model or to this kind of theory. But one that stands out was that it's hard to believe enjoyment and goodness must be simultaneous, right? So there seems to be more to this story. Another example of this model would be, of a theory that adopted this model or follows this model would be this theory that argues that well-being is constituted by success in pursuing worthwhile goals, or where they argue that there are three conditions that make a life a good one. One must love something, what one loves must be worth loving, and one must be related in the right way to what one loves. So one must love something that talks more about the subjective part, right? Or what one loves must be worth loving. That's more towards the objective part, right? So we can have a feeling of this joint necessity model. So some people might be arguing, wait, why are hybrid theories this new distinct class? Maybe they're just a fancy way of saying pluralism. How are they different from each other? So pluralism argues that there are multiple constituents of well-being. So there are multiple things that are part of well-being. While hybrid theories thinks that there are multiple explaining conditions of some things being a constituent of well-being, but there doesn't have to be multiple constituents. Maybe there are different ways of explaining one thing. It's being constituent of well-being, but there is one thing that constitutes well-being. There are just multiple ways of explaining it. So you can, of course, have a theory that's both hybrid and pluralistic, but it doesn't have to be at the same time. You can have a pluralistic theory that's not hybrid at all. So you have multiple constituents of well-being that you have only one way. You have only one explaining condition for that. Or you might have a hybrid theory where you only have one thing. You won't have one constituent of well-being, that only one thing constitutes well-being, but you have multiple explaining conditions for that thing that constitutes well-being. So people have had doubts about joint necessity model as well. So firstly, think about passive pleasure. So maybe compare that everything remained the same for my life today, except that I was introduced to a beautiful dream tonight, or except I was introduced to a drink that I liked very much. But those were passively taking place for me, so I didn't pursue them, I didn't actively engage in them, so on and so forth. They just happened for me. But compare this version of my day today to a version where those passive pleasures didn't happen. It seems that this version where those passive pleasures did take place, it does seem that I had more well-being in those days, even though just by a tiny bit. It seems intuitive that I did have experienced more well-being in this version of the day. So some philosophers argue that achievement of worthwhile goals can contribute to a person's well-being even if she did not pursue them, even if she just passively experienced it and didn't engage in it or whatever, or even if she resents or rejects them. So how about passive pleasures that take place in our life? The joint necessity model doesn't seem to explain this very well. So the first way to reply to this problem of passive pleasures would be saying that, okay, we just deny that I enjoy achievements contribute anything to well-being. I just deny that those passive pleasures that happen in my day-to-day just contributed to my well-being. However, think about this statement that I enjoyed achievements don't contribute anything to well-being. Again, it seems that we are putting so much emphasis on enjoyment here. And think about this statement. How is this different from hedonism? It sounds kind of similar to hedonism, right? And also, even if it's not hedonism, to achieve that, to establish a statement like this in such a kind of complex theoretical setting, it seems that our stance would be kind of unstable, right? We need more work. We're required to do more work comparing to the hedonists. So we are saying something similar to hedonism, and if we try to establish something that's not quite like hedonism, we have to do a lot more theoretical work, and our theoretical work might not be successful or efficient all the time, and that would make our theory unstable. And maybe we always have this danger in the background that our theory just collapses back into hedonism. And another way to reply was that this statement, by arguing that someone's life might not be going fairly well, even though she herself is not particularly well off. But then this reply might have problems as well. So we're required to establish such distinctions. So we need to make a distinction between life going fairly well and someone being particularly well off. We have to define those terms. We have to give a solid, genuine argument why those two things are different and how they're different. And that's a lot of theoretical work that has to be done. And also, this statement relies on certain intuitions we have, right? This statement might resonate with some of our intuitions, and some of you may not find this resonating with your intuitions. So the intuition that's captured within the sentence, it might not be transparent for all people. We have to argue for this intuition. We have to argue for the transparency. We have to give ways and basis and grounding and establishments to support or increase the credibility and transparency of this intuition. We can't just throw it out there, but it might not resonate with every single person's intuitions, right? So the statement is not as strong as it seems. And those reasons might be reasons to move beyond the joint necessity model. There might be other reasons to move beyond it as well. So for instance, some people might think that it has a lot of theoretical limits, or it just doesn't capture certain intuitions they have. So an alternative model we might have would be holism. So for holism, I think it's a bit more complex than the joint necessity model, that the contribution to the subject's well-being of each amount of factor X depends on facts about at least one other factor Y. And the contribution to the subject's well-being of each amount of factor X is not zero when the amount of Y is zero. So firstly, it denies joint necessity, and secondly, one factor can depend on a lot of other factors, and there can be more complex interrelations between different factors, and it just captures a lot more layers of these, and it captures more complex systems of factors. There are also subjective hybrids and objective hybrids, as you can see here. So I'll not go into more details of these. Here is a basic sketch of the hybrid theories, and as you can see, this indeed is an umbrella term for a lot of theories, and there might be a lot more out there that can be called hybrid theories, and people can get pretty creative in terms of what they combine together. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this sketch of hybrid theories, and see you in the next lecture, which would be on eudaimonism.